Less than a quarter of small businesses in Wales are female-owned. But there is one industry where women rule the roost. We spoke to some of the intrepid entrepreneurs over at Cardiff's craft fair.
Well, craft, certainly in recent years, is dominated by women, to be honest. There's so many women actual running small businesses. Professionally, these people are not doing hobbies. This is actually people who are making for a living. And all of their work is centred around being their own boss.
Myself, I'm one of 8 in my studio. We have a shared studio. There are 8 of us, all women who share, and I think it's quite interesting. We didn't sort of set it up that way, it's kind of happened naturally over the past couple of years. We used to have a couple of blokes in with us as well, but they've sort of moved away and gone on to set up their own thing or gone into a different trade. But it's interesting looking back, because you look at the trade workers and the men who are still in trade, and the history of silversmithing. It was male dominated really, so it's interesting to see now a lot more independent makers who are women, and I don't know whether that's because there's more of an interest from women in the design process or maybe more interest in making, but yeah, there's definitely been an evolution over the last few years, I would say.
As a woman in my late 50s, I have not worked for the last 17 years, so it just, for me, this is play therapy, and for me to gain confidence, finding self-worth, and also making a bit of money. And I want to make something beautiful. And when I get compliments from people, it's just so satisfying. I think it's something I can inspire other women to do. So this series here I call them divas. They're inspired by BBC 100 Women. Some based on real characters, some are imaginary ones. And like this one here, that is the first lady pilot.
I feel like it's the one industry where actually there are more women, and it's really good to kind of see that coming through. And a lot of things, especially with like knitting, it's very traditional kind of women's craft. And I kind of want to, but it's something that seems very sort of domesticated. So I like the idea that you can actually make that into a proper business and be an entrepreneur, but by doing this very kind of like traditionally feminine craft.
Yeah, I put my tears and sweat into making these, so I want to celebrate why I choose to make women, because I want to celebrate women empowerment.
Every piece of jewellery tells a story. Quite often jewellery is used to commemorate an occasion, so it holds the sentiment, and I think if something is handmade, it's got a story attached to it already. So as a customer buying into our products, our handmade products, you're buying from an individual maker who's given their heart to that piece, and it's an expression of ourselves. So it's a really lovely thing to be able to pass on.